So it depends on the case to case, but I would say let's take the border security as an example, right? There's a three-layer security for the Indrajal Ranger. Layer 1 is cyber takeover. Layer 2 is soft kill using a spoofer, and layer 3 it launches an interceptor to stop the drone. So like that, it's there are 3-layer, 1-layer, 5-layer securities based on where we are deploying it, what is the threat we are envisaging in that place. See, if it is something in the middle of the country, there is no way a drone can travel from the border all the way to the middle of the country.
Okay.
The kind of threats you are expecting are different. If you are on the border, then definitely the thing can just come 3 kilometers and then hit you, right? So the threat profiling of a location is a huge thing before you decide how many layers of security you want to spend on. You are something like an oil and gas refinery, then you got to have all the layers. You don't care much about the price of the system, because compared to the asset value that you have, 1 day of non-operation equal to 200 million or 100 million top line, you don't care, right?
Yeah.
About how much you want to spend on this mitigation system.
And what does each of the layer do? Let's go into that detailing.
Cyber takeover does hacking of the drone, but only for commercial drones. It basically hacks the drone and is able to catch it and land it. For most urban areas, it would be suitable. Airports would be suitable because you're only expecting people to come in with these camera drones or like do-it-yourself drones, and it's more a nuisance nuisance which can affect your flight timings and so on and so forth. So you don't want that nuisance, but hence you would have a cyber takeover system, right? That's a layer. RF jamming and spoofing, navigational jamming and spoofing are 2 other layers. RF jamming and spoofing will try to cut the communication between the drone and the ground station, right? Navigational spoofing will cut the communication between the drone and satellites, or not even cut the communication, but it can fake the communication to a point where it's telling you wrong data of where you are, so that you cannot fly any further, right? Then interceptors. Then you have hard kill options like laser weapons. You have HPM weapons, which are like high powered microwave weapons. Basically, they are like directed electromagnetic pulse, right? So it's if I do it in this direction, your cameras will fry, right? So everything.
Project Kali, something similar to Project Kali.
But HPM are directed energy weapons, right? So they can fry electronics in a particular direction.
And Indrajal has this capability today.
Indrajal does have the capability to deploy these. But we don't manufacture these today, right? We have partners with which we deploy them with.
So the last layer did become operational in Operation Sindoor, which is the hard kill.
No.
The
soft kill was enough.
Okay.
Right. Hard kill take a much longer lead time. This we deployed in like in 48 hours, right? It's impossible to build.
But in your testing, it has been successful.
Yeah.
And what is the success rate as such of different levels, from threat detection to accurate threat detection ratio, and from there the success of actually being able to hack the system, because security layers are going up as we speak.
So for example, one of the capabilities that they explain is an optic fiber first person view drone, right? So communication is happening in optic fiber. Visually you're showing first person view flying. So basically it's not using navigation, neither it is using ground station RF, right? So stopping such a drone, which is mostly happening in Ukraine, Russia, that's extremely tough, because I'm not using any radio frequency to communicate. I'm not using any radio frequency to navigate. I'm literally using an optic fiber cable connected to a remote control, and I'm using a goggle to fly it, right? So optic fiber FPV drones, right? This is one category. Like that, we have 17 categories of capability of drones. Now, against the 17 categories of drones, we have mapped detection and mitigation technologies, right? So, a handheld uh, jamming equipment is less than 20% effective, right? A RF detection system is 40% effective in detecting all the 17 categories, right? A radar is about 90 plus in detection, right? But the problem with radar, it has a lot of false positives. So we have to merge radar with RF. But the second I mix it with, if I have 90%, I know something. But if I see an RF signal in that area, then, but there could be a lot of drones that are not emitting RF signal, right? So I have to take the risk with the drone, right? So at least detecting 90%. Now, if I hit a bird, so be it, right? What can I do, right? And nighttime, at least there are no birds, right? Daytime, you have a lot more problems, right? Nighttime, at least you can be assured that there are no birds in the air, right? So radar is about 90%. Interceptor drones have a much higher, like 80%, 80 to 85% kill rate. Navigational spoofing as a mitigation technology is close to 70%. So like that, we have a very clear doctrine of what is the performance capability of this technology, theoretically and practically, right? Now, each one comes with a cost. So and like I said, again, when you go to a customer, we have to choose, right? I can now, if I'm an oil and gas, I don't care if it's 500 crore system. I'm like, dude, put everything on there, right? All the 5 layers.
Have you done a deployment for oil and gas?
We have done, but it's still in trials.
Was it in Jamnagar?
We did deploy a trial for Jamnagar about a year back. Yeah.